Listen to me. If you're tired of watching others succeed while you stay stuck, it's time to change everything. Most people wait for the perfect moment, the right opportunity, or the sign that will never come. But what if I told you that the speed of your success is entirely in your hands? Today, you're going to learn how to raise your standards, move faster than fear, turn obstacles into stepping stones, master your focus, leverage your environment, and become the person who wins before most people even start. The question is, are you ready to step forward and claim it when you want to get ahead faster than most people? It doesn't start with strategy or timing or talent. It begins with an inner shift so deep that it changes the way you walk, breathe, and show up in the world. It begins with raising your standards. Most people think success is about setting bigger goals, but goals without standards are like skyscrapers built on sand. They look impressive for a moment, but there's nothing holding them up when real pressure hits. Goals are what you want. Standards are what you're no longer willing to tolerate. And the moment you raise your standards, the moment you say, I'm done living at this level, something powerful happens inside you. You lock into a new identity, a new certainty. You stop negotiating with your old limitations. Think about it. Every breakthrough in your life came from a moment when you decided you were done settling. You were done being who you were. You were done playing small. And in that moment, your mind found a new gear. You didn't need motivation. You didn't need reminders. You didn't need someone cheering you on. You became self-propelled. That's the power of standards. When they change, your life changes automatically. Most people never get ahead because they keep lowering their standards to match their emotions. They say they want success, but their standards allow excuses. They say they want discipline, but their standards allow them to hit the snooze button. They say they want transformation, but their standards allow them to keep their old habits. They want the reward without the recalibration. And life doesn't work like that. To win sooner, you have to flip the pattern. Raise your standards first, and your behaviors rise to match them. Make a decision that the version of you who hesitates is gone. The version of you who waits until it feels right is gone. The version of you who takes action only when life is comfortable is gone. You choose a new standard. You follow through no matter what. You show up powerfully even when you don't feel like it. You keep moving even when uncertainty shows up. Because once your standards change, your actions don't need permission anymore. But raising your standards isn't about intensity for one day. It's about identity for life. Anyone can get motivated for a moment. Anyone can hype themselves up. Anyone can make promises at the start of the week. But the people who get ahead faster have standards that are woven into their identity. They don't say, I'm trying to be disciplined. They say, this is who I am. They don't say, I hope I stay consistent. They say, I don't miss. They don't say, I want to win. They say, winning is my baseline. When you raise your standards, you stop aiming for the minimum required and you start operating from a higher baseline than everyone around you. While others are trying, you're committing. While others are negotiating, you're executing. While others are waiting for direction, you're finding solutions. That alone puts you ahead, not in a year, not in a month, but today. Momentum always begins the moment you decide that you're done living at the level you've been tolerating. And here's the truth, your standards will always predict your future faster and more accurately than your goals ever will. You can set a goal to be financially free, but if your standards tolerate laziness, inconsistency, or distraction, that goal will stay on a vision board forever. You can set a goal to be in the best shape of your life, but if your standards allow you to break promises to yourself, the goal has no power. You can set a goal to succeed earlier than most people, but if your standards allow you to play safe, hide your potential, or wait for confidence, you will never beat the clock of your own hesitation. Raising your standards is the moment you tell your mind there is no path backward. And when the mind believes there is no retreat, it finds a way forward. Suddenly you start thinking differently. You start problem solving faster. You start noticing opportunities others overlook. You start pushing past the emotional limits that used to stop you. You start trusting yourself at a deeper level. You start living from a place of certainty, not hope, because winning early isn't magic. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's the result of consistently operating from a higher standard than the people around you. It's the discipline to choose what you want most over what you want now. It's the courage to demand more from yourself even before life gives you more. And it's the conviction that your future deserves the strongest, most committed, most powerful version of you. Not someday, but starting right now. And when that becomes your new baseline, when it becomes non-negotiable, your whole world begins to shift in ways that no one around you can understand. They'll call you lucky. They'll call you gifted. They'll call you special. But you'll know the truth. You simply raised your standards and your life rose with them. That's the moment you start getting ahead and winning sooner than most people. Most people are waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for the right opportunity, waiting for confidence, clarity, certainty, something magical to appear before they take the first step. But the people who win sooner, the ones who rise faster than everyone else, they understand something most people never learn. Movement creates clarity, not the other way around. Action is the spark. Action is the accelerator. Action is the thing that separates those who dream from those who do. And the secret is this: your first action doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be real. Think about how many times you've held yourself back because you told yourself, I'm not ready yet. Ready for what? Ready according to whom? The world doesn't reward people who wait to be ready. It rewards the ones who move while things are still messy, still uncertain, still unclear. The ones who say, I'll figure it out as I go. The ones who strike while the rest of the world is thinking about striking. And the moment you start moving, even imperfectly, your brain shifts, your energy shifts, your life shifts, because action changes your state. Action breaks fear. Action rewires your mind for progress. You don't build confidence and then act. You act your way into confidence. What stops most people isn't lack of ability or resources or intelligence. What stops them is hesitation. Hesitation is the silent killer of momentum. One moment of hesitation becomes a habit of hesitation. And every time you hesitate, you train your mind to doubt instead of decide. But the people who win sooner, the ones who rise quickly, they remove hesitation from their lives. They build a bias toward movement. They don't ask, can I do this? They ask, what's the next step? And then they take it immediately. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, you've had moments in your life where you took fast action without overthinking and everything changed. Maybe you made a decision that scared you, but you acted anyway. Maybe you started something even though you didn't have the full plan. Maybe you pushed yourself into discomfort, and that one decision created a ripple effect of breakthroughs. Look back at your biggest wins. They didn't come from playing safe. They came from moving fast. They came from stepping before you felt steady. They came from trusting that progress would come from the journey, not the preparation. There's a reason speed matters. When you move quickly, you stay ahead of fear. Fear grows in stillness. Doubt grows in silence. Overthinking grows when you give your mind too much time to dissect every possibility. But when you take action, fear has no room to breathe. When you move, your mind has to keep up with your life, and that's when you feel alive. That's when your power shows up. That's when you tap into a level of potential you didn't know you had. And here's the truth: imperfect action is always better than perfect intention. You can strategize, analyze, research, plan, visualize, but none of it matters until you execute. Most people hide behind preparation. They convince themselves they're making progress when really they're avoiding the very thing that would create it. But those who win sooner understand that action is the ultimate teacher. You learn more by doing in one day than by thinking in 10 years. You refine by moving. You grow by trying. You improve by falling forward, not sitting still. The moment you make speed a standard, everything changes. You start making decisions faster. You start trusting yourself more. You start seeing opportunities you never noticed before because you're no longer waiting. You're creating. You start becoming the kind of person who gets things done while others are still convincing themselves to start. And that identity, that rhythm, that momentum, it compounds. One fast action leads to another. One small win leads to a bigger one. And suddenly you're miles ahead of people who are just as talented, just as smart, just as capable, but slower because they're stuck waiting for the perfect scenario. But let's be real. Moving fast doesn't mean being reckless. It means being responsive. It means being willing to test, adjust, adapt. It means understanding that the map changes as you walk. And that's the beauty of it. Your path becomes clearer while you're already in motion. You don't need the whole staircase. You just need the next step. And once you take it, the next one appears. If why want to win sooner than most people, you can't afford to live in your head. You can't afford to let fear negotiate with your potential. You can't afford to trade your future for the illusion of certainty. You move, you act, you adjust, and you keep going long after others have paused, because the person who moves the fastest learns the fastest. The person who learns the fastest grows the fastest, and the person who grows the fastest gets ahead the fastest. So don't wait for permission. Don't wait for perfect. Don't wait for clarity. Step even if it's shaky. Act even if it's messy. Move even if your voice trembles, because once you do, life starts opening doors for you that never appear for the ones who sit still. This is how you get ahead and win sooner than most people. Every person who gets ahead faster than most faces obstacles. The difference is not that they have fewer problems, but that they see them differently. Most people look at a challenge and stop. They see a roadblock, a reason to hesitate, a signal to retreat. They view problems as interruptions, as signs that life is working against them. And that perspective keeps them stuck. But the people who win sooner, the ones who rise ahead of the crowd, they understand a simple truth. Every obstacle contains the seed of an advantage if you know how to approach it. Every difficulty can become a shortcut if you're willing to see it that way. Life doesn't hand out smooth roads to anyone worth following. The people who achieve extraordinary results aren't those who avoid problems. They are those who use problems as fuel. Think about the moments when you faced a challenge and came out stronger. Maybe it was a project that failed, a relationship that ended, or a setback at work. Most people would see only loss. Winners see lessons, opportunity, and leverage. Every obstacle is a chance to stretch, a chance to innovate, a chance to get stronger faster than anyone else. And the moment you start training yourself to see obstacles as shortcuts instead of roadblocks, your whole approach to life changes. You don't panic when problems arrive, you analyze. You don't get stuck, you pivot. You don't settle, you solve. Challenges are no longer threats, they are accelerators. The key is how you approach them. Problems are big, yes, but they are never insurmountable. They are only intimidating if you face them head on without a strategy. But when you break a challenge into smaller, actionable steps, it suddenly becomes manageable. When you focus on one small victory at a time, the big obstacle loses its power over you. Most people try to tackle everything at once. They get overwhelmed, paralyzed, and give up. But the person who wins sooner breaks it down, takes the next right step, stacks wins, and keeps moving forward. One step today, one step tomorrow, and before long, what looked impossible is no longer intimidating at all. It's also about mindset. The average person sees obstacles as punishment. The person who rises faster sees them as invitations. Every problem is a test of your resilience, a test of your resourcefulness, a test of your commitment to your own standards. The more you embrace challenges as part of your growth, the faster you evolve. You start to enjoy the process. You start to trust yourself more. You start to recognize that obstacles are proof that you're moving in the right direction. Nothing of value grows without resistance. And when you accept that, you stop fearing difficulties and start using them strategically. And here's the powerful part. Obstacles force creativity. When everything is smooth, people get lazy. They follow routines, they take the easy path, they do what's expected. But when a problem appears, you are forced to innovate. You are forced to stretch your thinking. You are forced to come up with solutions that most people would never consider. That is exactly how the person who wins sooner gains an advantage, by turning every obstacle into a laboratory for success. You can't control every challenge life throws at you, but you can control your response. And the person who chooses to respond with creativity, courage, and persistence always moves ahead faster than the one who freezes. It's also about speed and problem solving. The longer you linger in frustration, the bigger the obstacle becomes, the faster you take action, the sooner the challenge loses its power. Momentum is created in the response, not in the complaint. When you learn to approach every difficulty with urgency and clarity, you transform barriers into stepping stones. And when others are still analyzing and debating whether it's worth it, you've already moved forward, already turned a stumbling block into a springboard. That's how acceleration happens. That's how winning sooner becomes inevitable. Obstacles also teach leverage. Life doesn't reward luck, it rewards leverage. Every challenge has hidden advantages, lessons, connections, insights, skill building that most people overlook because they are too focused on discomfort. The person who wins sooner looks for the leverage inside the problem. They ask, what is this situation showing me? How can I turn this into an advantage? That's how they get ahead faster than everyone else. Every struggle becomes a stepping stone. Every setback is set up for a bigger breakthrough. The path to success isn't obstacle-free. It's obstacle-rich. And your ability to see those obstacles as opportunities is what separates winners from everyone else. So the next time life puts a wall in front of you, don't shrink back. Don't see it as a reason to delay. Don't let it intimidate you. Look at it closely. Break it down. Find the next step. Find the opportunity hidden in the challenge. Use it as a shortcut. Let it teach you. Let it strengthen you. Let it accelerate you. Because the faster you master the art of turning obstacles into stepping stones, the sooner you get ahead and win before most people even realize what's happening. If you want to get ahead faster than most people, there's one skill more powerful than talent, luck, or even strategy, and that is focus. Not casual focus, not I'll try to concentrate when I feel like it focus. I'm talking about intense, laser sharp, ruthless focus. The kind of focus that allows you to move through distractions, noise, and chaos and consistently produce results that others only dream about. Most people scatter their energy across too many things. They say yes to every opportunity, every distraction, every shiny object that passes by. They allow their attention to be hijacked by social media, gossip, fear, or uncertainty. And as a result, they get nothing done, or what they do accomplish takes 10 times longer than it should. Focus is not about doing more, it's about doing less, better, with undivided attention. And that's how the fastest people get ahead. They protect their focus like a fortress. Think about your mind like a powerful engine. If you pour fuel into the engine, but scatter it across multiple directions, the engine doesn't produce power efficiently, it sputters. But when all the fuel is directed toward one cylinder, toward one purpose, toward one action, the output is enormous. That's the difference between the person who drifts through life and the person who accelerates rapidly toward their goals. Focus creates leverage. Focus creates clarity. Focus turns small actions into exponential results. And the people who win sooner understand that every minute spent distracted is a minute lost that can never be recovered. Most people, you underestimate how much their environment shapes their focus. If you are surrounded by noise, negative people, and endless distractions, your focus will fragment. The fastest people don't rely on willpower alone. They design their environment to protect their attention. They create spaces, routines, and boundaries that make it easy to concentrate and hard to veer off course. They remove notifications, silence unnecessary input, and guard their time fiercely. Focus is a choice, but it is also a habit. And the habit is reinforced by the environment you build. When you control your environment, you multiply your results without having to try harder every single day. Focus also requires prioritization. You can't give your all to everything, and the sooner you realize that, the faster you win. The average person spends time on things that don't matter, small talk, trivial tasks, or activities that give immediate pleasure but no long-term return. The person who gets ahead understands the difference between urgent and important, between noise and signal. They say no to distractions and yes to the few things that actually move the needle. And when you consistently give your attention to the highest impact actions, your results multiply, often in ways that surprise even you. It's not about doing more, it's about doing the right things relentlessly. Energy management is another part of focus that most people ignore. You can sit at a desk for 10 hours, but if your mind is scattered, your results will be minimal. The fastest people get ahead because they manage their energy as much as their time. They know when to push, when to rest, and when to recalibrate. Focus requires clarity, and clarity requires energy. When your energy is high, your focus is sharp. When your energy is low, even simple decisions become difficult and momentum slows. That's why protecting your attention also means protecting your energy, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Every decision to divert energy is a decision to delay success. Focus also gives you speed. The more focused you are, the faster you can make decisions, the faster you can execute, and the faster you can course correct when necessary. The distracted person hesitates, second guesses, and moves in fits and starts. The focused person moves decisively, confidently, and consistently. That is the difference between someone who gets ahead early and someone who waits years for opportunity to appear. Focus is your invisible accelerator. It compounds results because concentrated action creates momentum. Momentum creates results. Results create confidence, and confidence accelerates everything else in your life. But maintaining focus takes discipline. It's not something that magically happens when you feel like it. It's the result of repeated decisions to protect your attention. It's the willingness to say no to what doesn't matter. It's the courage to resist temporary comfort in order to achieve long-term gain. And the beauty of it is that once focus becomes a habit, life begins to reward you with clarity, speed, and power that the average person will never experience. You move through challenges with purpose. You accomplish more in a week than others do in a month. You create results that seem disproportionate to effort simply because your attention is undivided. Focus is not just a tool, it's the foundation of early success. It is what allows you to cut through the chaos, rise above mediocrity, and accelerate toward your goals while others are still spinning their wheels. And once you protect it, guard it, and apply it consistently, nothing can stop you. This is how you get ahead and win sooner than most people. If you want to get ahead faster than most people, you need to understand one simple truth: you. Become like the people and the environment you surround yourself with. Most people underestimate how much their surroundings shape their results. They complain about life, blame circumstances, and hope for luck. But the fastest path to success is not waiting for the world to change. It's creating an environment that propels you forward. Every person who rises faster than others has mastered this principle. They don't leave their growth to chance. They design their lives so that progress is inevitable. The people, the places, the energy you allow into your life either accelerate you or hold you back. And the sooner you understand that, the faster you get ahead. Look at the average person. They live in environments that mirror their comfort zone. They spend time with people who reinforce their excuses, who normalize mediocrity, who dilute their energy, and they wonder why they feel stuck. The fastest achievers don't wait for inspiration. They intentionally surround themselves with ambition, accountability, and high energy. They seek out people who challenge them, who push them, who expect more than what they've been giving themselves. They don't just network. They deliberately choose relationships that raise their standards, that accelerate their growth, that make excuses impossible. When you do this, you create a gravitational pull towards success. Your environment no longer allows you to settle. It forces you to elevate. It's not just about people either. Your physical environment matters. The spaces you inhabit shape your mindset. Cluttered, disorganized, or chaotic surroundings drain focus and energy, but spaces that are intentional, clean, and structured create clarity and momentum. Think about the times when you've walked into a room that energized you versus one that drained you. The difference is profound. If you want to move faster, if you want to win sooner, you must design environments that fuel action rather than distraction. Remove what doesn't serve you. Add what amplifies your energy. Small changes in your surroundings compound into massive gains over time. The environment also includes the information you consume. Most people allow themselves to be bombarded by negativity, gossip, and irrelevant news. They scroll endlessly, letting their minds be hijacked by content that has no return on life. The people who rise faster curate their inputs. They read books that inspire, listen to conversations that educate, and absorb knowledge that empowers them to take action. They don't allow random information to shape their mindset. They choose inputs that strengthen it. What you feed your mind daily becomes the foundation for your decisions and actions, and the more intentional you are with your inputs, the faster you move toward your goals. Accountability is another hidden accelerant in the environment. The fastest people don't go it alone. They have mentors, partners, and peers who will call them out when they slack, who will demand more than they would demand from themselves, who will celebrate wins but won't tolerate excuses. Accountability creates urgency, and urgency accelerates progress. Without it, most people drift. With it, they are propelled. Surrounding yourself with accountability is not optional if you want to win faster. It's essential. Your environment should be one where mediocrity is impossible, where average effort is unacceptable, where growth is non-negotiable. And here's the subtle part most people miss. Energy is contagious. If you spend time with people who complain, procrastinate, and fear risk, that energy seeps into your life. It slows you down. It makes hesitation normal. But if you spend time with people who are confident, ambitious, and relentless, that energy rubs off. It becomes part of your identity. You begin to think bigger, act bolder, and expect more from yourself. Surrounding yourself with high energy, high performance people creates momentum that can't be manufactured alone. The fastest path to success is rarely about luck. It's about alignment with people and environments that demand your best. You also accelerate growth by being selective about the opportunities and challenges you accept. Environments aren't just physical, they're experiential. The person who rises faster doesn't just wait for random opportunities. They create environments that put them in situations of rapid learning, growth, and exposure. They choose challenges that stretch them, experiences that expand their skill set, and circles that make them think differently. Every environment you engage with shapes your thinking and your capabilities. The more deliberately you choose, the faster your evolution. The people who get ahead sooner know that they can't control everything in life, but they can control their environment. They create spaces, relationships, and routines that naturally pull them toward their goals. They eliminate distractions, elevate standards, and cultivate energy that reinforces action. They understand that speed in life isn't just about what you do. It's about who and what surrounds you, because the right environment amplifies your focus, your momentum, and your results. No one succeeds alone, and no one accelerates in a vacuum. Your environment is your invisible engine, and when it's designed intentionally, it propels you faster than effort alone ever could. This is how you get ahead and win sooner than most people. If you want to win sooner than most people, the final piece of the puzzle isn't just strategy, effort, or even speed. It's identity. Most people focus on what they need to do, what actions to take, what goals to set. But the fastest people understand that our assaults follow identity. Who you are determines what you do, and what you do determines your results. If you want to achieve extraordinary outcomes, you don't start with tactics. You start by becoming the person who naturally produces those outcomes. Until your identity shifts, your actions will always be inconsistent, your standards negotiable, and your results delayed. The people who get ahead faster don't just work harder, they become someone who is unstoppable by design. Think about it. You've tried to force yourself into actions that didn't feel natural and it never stuck. You've tried to copy habits, mimic behaviors, or chase results without truly transforming who you are at the core, and eventually old patterns pulled you back. That's because action without identity is temporary. It's like building a house on a foundation that can't support it. The moment pressure comes, stress, setbacks, distractions, you revert. But when your identity aligns with your goals, when who you are matches what you're trying to achieve, action becomes automatic. Consistency becomes effortless. Momentum becomes inevitable. And winning sooner becomes a natural consequence of who you are. Your identity is composed of the beliefs, values, and self-image that drive your choices. Most people unconsciously allow their self-image to limit them. They see themselves as someone who procrastinates, someone who hesitates, someone who gets overwhelmed. And the problem is that you can't consistently produce results outside the scope of who you believe you are. You can try, you can force it, you can get temporary wins, but the moment things get challenging, your identity sets the ceiling. The fastest achievers recognize this and take control of their self-image. They ask, who do I need to be to get the results I want? And they deliberately start living as that person today. Not someday, not after perfect conditions, they become that person now. This shift is subtle but profound. When you identify as someone who wins, your brain begins to filter reality through that lens. You notice opportunities that match your identity. You make decisions aligned with the person you are becoming. You act with confidence, not uncertainty. You don't need motivation every morning because motivation is no longer external. It's built into your identity. The fastest people don't ask, can I do this? They ask, who am I if I don't do this? And the answer drives them forward. Identity becomes the engine of action, and once that engine is running, nothing can stop it. The people who rise quickly also understand that identity is developed through practice, not intention alone. You don't declare a new identity and suddenly wake up transformed. You consistently take actions that reinforce the person you want to become. You keep your promises to yourself. You show up in ways that match your new standards. Every choice, every commitment, every step becomes a building block for your identity. And as your identity solidifies, your actions align naturally, your results accelerate, and what used to feel impossible becomes inevitable. The faster you integrate identity into your life, the faster you achieve results beyond what others consider normal. Another important aspect is that identity protects your standards. When your identity is weak or misaligned, it's easy to compromise. It's easy to settle, to take shortcuts, to rationalize failure. But when you see yourself as the kind of person who gets ahead sooner than most, compromise becomes unnatural. Taking shortcuts feels wrong. Excuses feel foreign. Hesitation feels like betraying yourself. Your identity becomes your compass, your internal guide, your unshakable source of momentum. You don't need external pressure to perform. The pressure comes from within because who you are demands more. Identity also creates resilience. Life will challenge you. Obstacles will appear. People will doubt you. Circumstances will try to pull you back. The person with a weak identity will fold under pressure. The person with a strong, aligned identity will adapt, persist, and overcome because failure is no longer a reflection of your value. It's a step in the journey of someone who wins. When your identity is solid, nothing in the external world can derail your path. You keep moving, keep learning, keep growing, and the distance between you and those waiting for permission, waiting for luck, or waiting for motivation widens rapidly. The most powerful realization is this: the fastest way to get ahead is to stop trying to chase results and start becoming the person who naturally produces those results. Shift your beliefs, refine your self-image, raise your standards, and live in alignment with the identity of someone who wins sooner. Everything else, focus, speed, resilience, environment, flows effortlessly from that. Your actions, decisions, and momentum all align because they are no longer forced. They are an expression of who you are at your core. Identity is the invisible engine that accelerates your life, and once it's operating, your results will far surpass what you ever imagined. This is how you get ahead and win sooner than most people.